Program for Science 3rd Prep Stage. Today we have an important lesson. Our information today about what? About Today we have the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. What are the peaceful uses of nuclear energy or the benefits of nuclear energy? Here we have number one, medical field. What's meant by medical field? We use the nuclear energy in medicines or to make treatment of some kind of diseases such as cancer. So the medical field in diagnosis and treatment of diseases such as cancer. We use gamma rays, for example, to make what? To make this diagnosis and the treatment of diseases such as the cancer. And we have another thing, number two, in agricultural field. We have the agricultural field. It means what? It means a type of radiation that's used to kill and eliminate the pests. Eliminate pests, it means what? It means damage the pests or stop the reproduction of these pests to improve the plant. Again, the green plant, it needs improving of this one. And it needs what? And it needs some protection from pests. We use the insecticides, but insecticides or types of chemical compounds, it's very dangerous for what? For the human and animal. But the field or agricultural field that we use some kind of nuclear energy to make what? To make these things, to make the protection of plants from pests, to kill the pests and microbes of the plant. After that, we have number three, in industrial field. Industrial field, we have what? We have convert sand to silicon sheets to use in manufacturing of computer processors. And what? And we have number four, we have what? Programmed electric circuits used in electric appliances. Again, this one or this nuclear energy, it is used in the reactor to make some silicons or the silicon element, change it into sheets from its ores. To make what? To make the computer sheets, computer cards like RAM, like ROMs, like, for example, we have the processor. To make what? To make the production of sheets in computer cards. And we have number five, finding defects in manufactured products. Like what? For example, like metals. If you move the gamma rays and you have or radiation or X-ray on what? On the metals. So if you have any bumps, to make what? These bumps or these bubbles, it makes what? It makes some kind of what? Some kind of defects that found in these manufactured products. Like what? Like the iron, nickel, cobalt, titanium, anything of this product that made of what? Made of metals. After that, number six, we have useful things. We have the benefits of nuclear energy, generating electricity. It is very, very important thing. The nuclear reactor releases a large amount of heat energy that is used to boil water. This is generating electricity from nuclear energy. We have here plasma, and the second one we have heat exchanger, and here we have turbines in the left and the right hand, and after that we have generator. What will happen here? This is a heat exchanger, change from plasma or heat energy to make what? To make the water boil, and it contains some amount of water. So here the water here change into water vapor, and water vapor change or move from this exchanger to what? To reach turbines, and after that turbines that move to make the generator moved again to make generating electricity. Here we have the steam produced turbines turbines which operate the electric generators. After that, here we have how is fission used in nuclear power station. Here we have what? We have the nuclear reactor, and this nuclear reactor, it has high amount of heat energy, and this amount of heat energy, that's like this. If I have the boiling water that makes boiler here, change the water here into water vapor, and this water vapor, it moves inside this pipe to reach turbine like this. So here the step 2, the boiling water produces high pressure steam, that the force here, force of moving steam, turns the turbine, and after that we have here the turbine turning the generator to make electricity produced. Why? To make what? To make generation of electric energy that pass to the national grids. To make what? To make this electric energy move and connect it to what? To the houses, factories, anything of these things. After that, this step 4, the low pressure of steam that's condensed back into water in the cooling towers, and the tower is reused. Why? To make a cycle between boiler and cooling towers. So here this is what? This is the operation inside the nuclear reactor to make what? To make the, or to generate electric energy. Why? Because it is useful things that happened by what? That happened by electric or nuclear energy to change it into electric energy. It is very, very important, and the first thing that produced by nuclear energy. In the space exploration, so here if I have the exploration or discovery of the space, the nuclear fuel for rockets, nuclear fuel for what? For the spaceships to fly in the space. So here we have the space exploration to make what? To make the nuclear fuel for what? For rockets that fly in the space. After that, here we have what? We have the exploration of the universe, or exploring or discovery of the Earth planet. So the astronomer, they use what? They use some instruments to make what? To make the discovery of the what? Of the outer space. So here this one, or these types of suits, for example, it's used to make this one, to this discovery. And we have the space ships or rockets like this. It is used a type of fuel that called what? That called nuclear fuel. This nuclear fuel, it is very, very clean one. To make what? To make discovery like this. This discovering or this type of fuel that found here, to make this what? To make the rockets and spaceships move to the outer space and make discovering in a continuous tour in the outer space. Without this type of nuclear energy, there is no discovery of the moon, there is no discovery of Earth, there is no discovery of any part of what? Of the outer space, like planets here, like moons here. So here we have the spaceship that use the nuclear energy to move down or make landing on the moon surface, and it makes take off like this. And we have the nuclear energy, it is used to make these types, a special type of suits of the outer space or the astronomer here. So here this is what these things that found here, that's what, that is the astronomers and spaceships use the nuclear energy to make discovery of the outer space by using this energy in a form of fuels to make moving or taking off by spaceships to outer space, and makes landing on what? On the surface of planets, or surface of what? Of moon, or surface of any type of the outer space bodies. Here we have a part of history. It is very important thing. Dr. Ali Mustafa Musharraf. It's one of the great scientists, Egyptian scientists, that discover and make researches about the nuclear energy. This person is very important person in our life, because it's the first one of the Egyptian scientists to make this research about the atom and nuclear energy. So here we must appreciate this scientist, this one, Dr. Ali Mustafa Musharraf, the first Egyptian scientist that make research about the atom and its energy, and how does the energy that used in peaceful things. So he discovered what? He was the first Egyptian professor of applied the mathematics in the Faculty of Science in Cairo University. He became dean of the faculty in 1936 at the age of 38. He contributed to development of the quantum theory as well as the theory of relativity, and that corresponded with Albert Einstein. Here we have a very important scientist that make research about Albert Einstein theory, and it makes the things with him. So here we have what? We have the Egyptian scientist Dr. Ali Mustafa Musharrafa. It's very important one to make this theory as well as the theory of relativity and corresponded with Albert Einstein. Here we have he published 25 original papers in distinguished the scientific journals about what? About the quantum theory. After that, a theory of radioactivity and the relation between radiation and matter. So here we have the theory of radioactivity and the relation between the radiation and the matter. What's meant by radiation here? It is radioactive elements and the relation between radiation and what? And the matter. Matter, it has wave property. It's the first thing that said by Einstein after the death of what? Of Dr. Ali Mustafa Musharraf. And we have the theory of relativity and the relation between radiation and the matter by Dr. Ali. The harmful effect of radioactivity. What are the harmful effects of radioactivity? Number one, we have natural radioactivity. We have the rocks of Earth, cosmic radiation coming from the other space. And we have another thing, we have artificial one. It means what? The explosions of the nuclear bombs and the nuclear reactors. In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor in Russia, it exploded. This released radiations which were carried by what? By the wind surrounding the European countries. Why? Because it is heavy materials that produced by what? By the nuclear reactor, and we have this heavy material that move with the wind and move down with rains, and it makes damaging of most areas of European countries. This is the shape of what? Of the explosion of nuclear energy or nuclear bomb, or the type of explosion that happened in nuclear reactor. So here we have the nuclear reactor or the nuclear energy is very dangerous. We use it in peaceful things, but here we have a dangerous, very dangerous thing. That's what? That's called massive destruction. Massive destruction, it means what? It means it is very dangerous thing that's happened to finish our life, to end our life in all parts of the planet Earth by using this type of energy. We must control this energy in using in wars. So here we have what? We have the pollution from the clouds carrying the atomic dust, and this atomic dust that move down with rains to make turbid rains, or what? Or radioactive rains. So here this radioactive, it is not radioactive really, but what? But we have the pollution that happened here by radiation in some rains that move down here. So the decay of nuclear fuel of uranium 235 during the Chernobyl accident produces atomic what? Produces atomic dust formed of iodine and cesium. So here we have the Chernobyl explosion that happened formed by iodine and cesium, which fell on the soil by dry falling or what? Or by falling with the rain to the earth. Again, we have this dust, or we have this types of what? Types of chemical compounds or radioactive elements that found in the soil by iodine and cesium that found in what? In the heavy metals or heavy smokes or metallic smokes that found in what? That found by the explosion of nuclear reactor of Chernobyl. Here we have the type of nuclear bomb. The nuclear bomb like this. It's a very small one, but it has what? It has massive destruction of many cities. This nuclear bomb that fall down on Hiroshima in Japan 1945, and it makes destruction or massive destruction of many types, or this one, or many types of these countries, or many parts of this country, Hiroshima. And another one that fall down on Nagasaki is another in another city in Japan, and it makes massive destruction of this city. It makes the rocks, it is like the glass or crystals. Why? Because it has large amount of heat energy that's pass or pass what? Past 10 million degrees centigrade. After that, we have a picture of a Chernobyl accident. It is a part of Chernobyl that makes explosion like this. You have the damaging parts here. This damaged part, it makes massive destruction of the city in this day. In this date, we have 1986. That's the accident of a Chernobyl that happened in this reactor to make what? To make massive destruction of this area that found in Ukraine, in Russia. So here, this one, or this Chernobyl accident, it makes a very, very, very dangerous things that happened in what? In the world. We have the dangers of exposure to radiation. What are the dangers of exposure to radiation? What will happen if you exposed to radiation for a short time or for a long time? Let's see to go. Number one, we have physical defects. Physical defects, it means what? It means we have another part, or this is a picture of a child that exposed to what? To the gamma rays. So the gamma rays, it makes what? It makes physical defects or physical change in this body. And we have genetic change in the sex chromosomes resulted from abnormal birth. Again, physical defects that happened to expose to this gamma rays in what? In long time or short time, it makes these physical defects or physical change of what? Of the body. And we have genetic change in the sex chromosomes resulted in the abnormal birth. After that, we have exposure to the large doses of radiation for short time damages the digestive system, spleen, and the central nervous system. Again, if you expose to large doses of radiation for a short time, so the damage the digestive system, spleen, and what? And central nervous system. After that, and the bone's marrow, which produced red blood cells. To produce red blood cells, it will be damaged. This reduces the number of red blood cells. So here the bone marrow that found inside our bones that produced or responsible for production of some kind of cells inside the blood, it is called red blood cells. That's what? That's making damaging of this one, damaging of bone marrow that has no ability to make what? To make the red blood cells again, and the person will die. After that, the person becomes sick and has sore throat, and we have nose and vertigo and diarrhea. So here we have many diseases that found or that happened in the same time. It is complicated. It's happened with each other. It's very interrupted things to happen for what? For the person that exposed to what? Exposed to the gamma rays in short time by large amount. After that, exposure to the small doses of radiation for a longer time, months or years, causes what? Causes many things like this: the physical defects and what? And genetic change in the 6 chromosomes resulted in the abnormal birth. And after that we have another defect that's happened, cellular defect. It changed the structure. It is changed in structure of what? Of the cell, such as what? Such as the change in structure and hemoglobin found in blood. Hemoglobin, it is a chemical compound that found in our blood, in red blood cells. It is responsible for what? Responsible for the found in the blood. Without hemoglobin there is no blood. Why? Because the hemoglobin, it contains one atom in its molecule. It has one atom of what? Of iron. So this iron, it's complicated or make reaction with gamma rays in something like this to make what? To make the change in the structure of hemoglobin. It's found in blood. And this change making red blood cells incapable of carrying oxygen, so the person will die. So here we reach to death in each type of this radiation, and the exposure to this radiation many times, it's reach what? Reach death. After that we have protection of radiation. Protection from radiation, we have many things here. Number one, avoid exposure to radiation. The maximum dose of radiation is 5 rem daily. It's very, very important sentence here. We have avoid to exposure radiation. The maximum dose that radiation is 5 rems. What's meant by 5 rem? 5 rem, it means measuring unit of the dose of each one of this radioactivity. If you exposed to 1 rem or 2 rems or 3 rems, it is easily. It's danger, but it's not danger in large amount. But if you exposed to the radiation more than 5 rem, you will die. You will have many diseases like we said before. So here we have the rem. It is the measuring unit of what? Of radiation. After that, persons who handle the radioactive element in the nuclear reactors and hospitals should wear protective gloves, protective clothes, protective masks to make what? To make protection of what? Of this type of radiation, of gamma rays. So here we have number 3. When storing the radioactive element or radioactive things or radioactive wastes, take the following precautions. Here we have a picture of what? Of some wastes of nuclear energy. Nuclear wastes. It has the word wastes. If you see this type of containers, you have or you must move away from it. Why? Because it is very, very dangerous one. It has radioactivity, and this radioactivity, it makes the diseases that we said before, and it makes the person and living organism die. If you have this one or any person that deal with these things, must make some things or must make some precautions. What are they? Number 1, here we have the picture of some persons that deal with this type of wastes, that they have the masks, they have special type of gloves, they have a special type of clothes, and they have the devices or appliances that see or that appear the amount of rems and amount of radioactivity that found in this area. So they are covered or they are protected by these things for large percentage, for 90%. 90% for what? From these wastes. But if you deal with these things without these precautions, you will die or you will take some diseases and you reach death after that. Another thing about precautions, here we have some wastes that must put in a desert area or grooved in the desert area. So this one or these parts of wastes that must be found or must be put inside the earth's crust in large depth or large depth. Here large depth about what? About 20 or 30 or 50 meters under the earth's crust. Why? Because what? Because these things is very, very dangerous, and if they found inside the areas that contains or that has any living organism, this living organism will die and the food chains will destroyed, and the life on Earth planet, in this or Earth planet or this country or this area of the Earth planet, it will finished or it will be ended. So here we have the precautions. Radioactive wastes should be stored away from underground water resources to prevent their pollution. And after that we have another one: radioactive wastes are stored in a stable area away from volcanoes or away from earthquakes. Why? Because the earthquakes or volcanoes, that makes what? That makes a disaster with this type of wastes. Why? Because they have radioactivity. Radioactivity is very dangerous by itself. If I have this radioactivity wastes that found beside volcanoes or beside or in an area of the earthquake belt, it will be disaster. After that we have radioactive wastes are stored away from the lands and caves to prevent the pollution from the reaching animals. Why? Because if I have some animal that we feed on it, for example, if I have a wastes under or inside a part or an area that contains herbs, and these herbs that eaten by the cows and buffaloes, and these cows and buffaloes eaten by the person, so the radioactive wastes or radioactive elements change it from this area to the plant, to the animal, for us. Why? Because what? Because this is food chain. The elements that change it from, or energy that change it from another, or from part of this food chain to another part, from the plant to animal to the person or to human. So the pollution will change from the plant or from the soil to the plant to the animal to the person or to the human in the last one part of this chain. Dear friends, I hope to enjoy your time with us. Till we meet again in another episode about science third prep stage. Till we meet again, thank you and goodbye everybody.